The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are The Bostonian versus The Book.
You covered! You covered 12! I covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus The Book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
And we are off and running on a Tuesday, boys and girls. How are you? Welcome into another episode of The Bostonian versus The Book. Dave Sharapan, The Book. Matt Perrault, The Bostonian. Lots to come on my home state. At the top of the show today, we are live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus The Book. Same on X, Twitter, replayed on SiriusXM, channel 159, and on Sports Grid each and every night. See Dave on there quite a bit. Dave and I both were on there last night. We got a lot to get to, sir, on the show. I'm excited to get it at the top. Talk about what we're going on here in Massachusetts over the last couple of days. But how are you on this Tuesday?
Oh, great. Got up this morning and went to Massachusetts, not literally, but went to Massachusetts to watch the Massachusetts Gaming Commission hearing, roundtable discussion, and see some friends and hear from some books, and things changed rapidly. It was an early wake-up call here at 8 a.m., so it was quite bananas, which is why I'm wearing the Savannah Bananas stuff today. This is the Savannah Bananas model, shirt and hat, because the kids say you got to always have the right fit. So we're going to try to do that best we can. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Celtics notwithstanding, I don't know how much we're going to talk about.
Oh,
that.
we'll talk about that. Yeah, we got to talk about that. Got a lot to talk about the game.
Yeah,
game one
as
tonight.
long as it's on the rundown.
Of course,
we got to make sure that it's it's on the rundown. So let's stick to this
Inside
best
joke.
we can.
Yeah.
Without any calls, text, emails, anything like that.
To the
Listen,
principal's office.
everybody that's here, welcome. Thank you. Subscribe, like. TPR, you're with me. He's on a mission. The guy is on a mission to get us more followers, more listeners, more views. Says this show's going to the moon. I want to help you any way I can.
Oh, thank you.
All we can do is do the show. You
Thank
and
you.
I continue to do the show. That's
Thank
what
you.
we're trying to do. And we appreciate everyone that's helped us along the way. And we're going to keep showing up and doing the show. So
yeah. So let me say a couple things at the top, because I think it's important. First and foremost, there isn't a sports book on the planet that wouldn't take a bet I would make. I will never be limited, ever. This conversation does not involve me personally. It involves me professionally. It doesn't involve me personally. I say that at the top because I think it's important to frame this conversation properly about what went on in my home state of Massachusetts this morning, where a roundtable conversation was to be held and was held, but was held without any legal sports book operator in the state. They all did not show up. The only one that showed up to answer the questions of the committee, and this was not a hearing, nobody was sworn in. This is a voluntary roundtable fact-finding conversation for the Mass Gaming Commission to find out exactly what is going on with gamblers who are being limited in the Bay State. And their questions were somewhat missing the point, but the operators weren't there to answer them anyway. Only Bally's was there, and they're not live until this summer. And they just were like, well, when we start, it's all hypothetical. Every question they answered was all in the future, if, when, and we actually start operating a book here in the state, because they haven't taken a single bet here in the state. How surprised were you, Dave, after we talked about this yesterday? How surprised were you that when we all got on here, the Massachusetts Gaming Commission meeting took a wild turn when all the legal sports betting operators decided, you know what? Nah, we're not going to show up. We want to do this in private, not public. We'll answer your questions without the bright lights and the eyeballs and the recording going on, but not in public. We'll do it in private. Were you surprised?
I'm surprised they didn't tell them right before. Like this was on the docket. I saw this last week before we went to Chicago and was like, oh, I have my little reminder note right over here. Look, right here. Massachusetts Gaming Commission hearing live on YouTube Tuesday, 5/21, 8 a.m. Pacific. I've been staring at it for 5 days going, make sure that you're there and you're here and you hear what they have to say, because I'd love to learn. Like they all wanted to learn. Everybody wants to learn on everyone else's dime. It's great. Like,
whoa. You're operating. This is the people that give you the license to operate in the state.
They pay the taxes though, right?
Yeah, but it's not learning on somebody else's dime. It's, do you want to operate in this state? Yes or no? We want to ask you questions as to how you're doing your business. It's the same as any other oversight committee asking questions of someone who's operating in their jurisdiction. So it's not like they are asking questions that are out of line to ask.
Well, I don't know if they're out of line or not, because you don't know what the questions are.
Well, that's what a fact-finding meant. That's what a roundtable conversation, because they have documented examples from gamblers in the state who have been limited in Massachusetts, and they're asking the books, why? Why have these gamblers been limited at your books? And none of them showed up after saying that they would show up. Why wouldn't they just say no? Why would they say, yes, we're going to do this? And then right before the thing's supposed to start, you're like, yeah, no, sorry.
Did they not know it was public?
Of course they knew it was public. It was a roundtable. You saw it on the agenda. It was on the agenda of being an open roundtable conversation about the practices in the Bay State, about how books are treating certain types of gamblers.
Right. Do you think they asked each other, are you going? Are you going?
It's exactly what I think. It's exactly what I think.
Do you?
I think in unison, because if one showed up, it would have made all the rest of them look that much worse. They all did this in unit. This was a coordinated thing of like, you know what? We're not going. We're not going to be a part of this, and we're not going to be there. The commissioners of the committee, Hill and Skinner, had harsh words for the operators that did not participate in today's discussion. Skinner said it was not a good use of the commission's time to have the conversation without the primary stakeholders involved. He thanked those who did participate, which was mostly Bally's and Captain Jack Andrews, who was there representing all the gamblers.
Saw Dustin too. Dustin
Gowker, who's there as well. Yes, our friends, people that have been on this show numerous times to have these conversations. I cannot think of a more insulting thing to do to a commission that is already talking about raising your tax rate quite a bit.
Right.
To tell them you're going to show up and then not show up. I'm from the state. I know how these people are going to handle this. This was a slap in the face. This was a big old F you. We don't have to answer a damn thing. We don't have to tell you guys a damn thing about what we do with our sports book. There's going to be repercussions from this. What? I don't know. But at the very least, the tax rate's going up in Massachusetts. When? How? But it's going up. The
Did they give a warning on that?
I don't know, but the committee's questions, everyone said, almost to a person on that committee, when they started a question, it was like, you know, it would be really nice to have this be answered by the operators who are actually doing this right now. It'd be nice to have them here to be able to answer this. Like they were not pleased.
They didn't answer all this when they gave him the license.
Well, no, because I think that there's a lot of conversations about practices after you become legal and you operate.
Only after you become legal. We'll get them through, and we'll advertise a certain tax rate. Then once we get them in, we'll question all their policies and procedures.
Correct.
Then.
Yes.
We don't educate ourselves before we give you the license.
This is one of the few topics where the word versus comes into play, because me and you are in total opposite polar sides.
No.
It's great.
I'm
you can protect the
asking
book.
a question. I'm neutral in this. I've been on both sides. I'm just trying to understand when the education process begins. Like, we gave you the license, and it was made clear that it's a privilege. It's a privilege. It's not.
Right.
It's not a business relationship. We own the license.
Correct.
We let you operate here.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. We pay the taxes. No problem. We have an agreement. We abided by your agreement. We passed the licensing procedure. And
unless you're doing something that's illegal. Unless you're doing something
that's illegal. What are you talking about?
Discrimination is illegal, Dave. You can't discriminate.
It's not discrimination.
Yes, it is. It's discrimination. I've told you this. This is our number one. Me and you disagree with it entirely. Telling the public that Dave Portnoy can bet $1 million on this game and nobody else can is discrimination. You're literally taking one group of people and putting them into one place and say, you guys can't do this. And the committee's questions, albeit a little bit around and somewhat frustrating because they weren't really getting to the point because there wasn't anybody there to answer it. But they're going to have to sit down and hold the feet to the fire now for these operators to answer the questions of what are you doing when you're limiting losing and winning bettors? Who gets limited and when and why? Because I don't think anybody wants to answer that question. They don't want that. And they just proved that they don't want to answer that question. So your non-appearance has just given this committee all the fuel that it needs to go and do as much of a deep dive on this topic as legally they are allowed to do. It was a dumb move. That was a stupid move today for all 6 of those books to decide to go, you know what? Yeah, we're coming. No, we're not. And they made all the people get together and everyone wasted their time this morning to sit there. And there were probably 8 people on that call that were expecting to have a lot of people there to talk about the sports betting practices in New England or in Massachusetts. And they just gave them a big FU.
Well, that's the way it looked. But I'm surprised that they didn't just say beforehand, we're good.
Right.
You know?
They thank you, but no thank you.
Right.
I mean, our friend Joe Brennan, all the Massachusetts sports betting operators refusing to participate in today's roundtable on limiting players. It's probably the biggest middle finger I've seen by licensees in the 20 plus years I've been in this industry.
Yep. JBJ knows.
I mean, this is just like, fugas, later, goodbye. We don't need you. We're done. I mean, DraftKings is one of the largest employers in the entire state. MGM has a huge brick and mortar in Western Massachusetts. WynnBet's out, so it doesn't matter with Encore, with what they're doing. We'll figure out what WynnBet winds up doing with their book. But it's just, they were asking questions about limiting table players, things you and I have had conversations with about, hey, if I have a casino and someone's counting cards, I have a chance to kick them out. Or if I want to have a table maximum and a table minimum, that was a very big conversation. And it led me to believe that a couple of them are going to suggest that there should be a minimum and a maximum allowed with sports betting.
I've said this all the time. If you put up something, you should be able to take a nickel on it. If you tell someone that they can bet a nickel on this, they'll always be able to bet a nickel on this. That's all they want. Like, the goal of it is to get a little more transparency in the whole industry, but the casino business, the gambling business, doesn't want transparency in a lot of things they do. We've lived here. I've lived here 21 years. There's a black book. 6 people get to see it. Who gets on it? Who gets, I don't know how you get on it. I don't know if you ever get off it. Once you get on that list, you're out. There's different things that happen that I think you have to have some sort of confidentiality. I mean, there's a lawyer and a attorney-client privilege. Like there's an anonymity to the better bookie relationship that can't be compromised or should not be compromised. People don't want their business out on the street.
Right. I think Massachusetts is going to ask a question that I have asked for a very long time. Under what parameter do you limit a player? And I think Mass is going to make them spell it out. There's going to be rules.
100 different ways.
Yep. And I think every different way is going to be discussed. I think you're going to have language that makes it a little ambiguous and a little bit up to the operator, but there's going to be language spelled out as to when someone is and is not going to be limited. And if the answer is he wins too much, that's not going to fly. You saw it in that committee. You saw all of them to a person on that committee. They're not going to allow that to say, well, they win too much. That's not going to fly in Massachusetts. You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to limit a person for a reason. Like you have said, hey, you're betting on a post, after the game's over, after the game has started, somebody leaves the number up too long, you put 5 dimes down on it, like that type of limiting, fine. But like Captain Jack's answer of like, I was limited because I was betting second innings. You saw the reaction that they had to that. They were like, like that can't be allowed just because you're betting something that is perceived to be sharp or makes you not look like a public gambler.
Don't put it up.
You put it up. I agree. If you put it up, you better.
If you don't want to take the bets on it, don't put it up. That's simple. Like if you put it up, when we did that at CG, we put up inning by inning, yes, no's, all kinds of stuff. I can tell you this. I was watching it. I wasn't doing it. I was observing. And I was wishing I was on the other side of the counter because the process to take the bets, make the numbers, and do all that stuff was a very inexact science. It's a lot of inexact science. And you learn, if you put it up and this guy bets it and he wins 7 out of 10 times, your numbers stink. You better get better. So either don't put it up or take the bets and get better. But I think you have to offer a minimum. And if you tell the guy, look, you can play it for a nickel today, tomorrow, next week, until we don't put it up no more. Then you get called, sorry, Will, you get called a chicken shit. And you, oh, well, now, you know, because if you listen to gambling Twitter, there's a lot of experts out there on everything. They know everything. They know how to run a book. They've never been in a book, worked in a book, but they're very sharp better. That's great. Should probably open a consulting service and come on in and tell people how to run a book. That'd be awesome. In fact, you can book 20% of the action. You're so good at it. Come on in. You have 20% of the risk. Watch how that changes. Watch how that song, that whole tune changes.
Right.
It's not easy to do.
No, but I think CBW is onto something. Like said yesterday, if you limit winners, don't you have to limit losers? And that was a very large topic of the committee that went on today was, are we just talking about those who win? Or are we talking about responsible gaming practices, which is a different conversation? I will admit it. It's two different conversations, but there is some commonality to it as to if, because we've seen this, if you're losing, you stop. What happens? Email, text message, offer, sign up bonus. They keep coming back to you. They want you to play more because you're a loser. You're in that silo of being a losing gambler and you've stopped. So how much of that is going on? And I think that is a worthwhile conversation. It's not one for the limiting of the winning sports gambler, but it's a worthwhile conversation of if you're going to shut somebody off for winning, how often are you shutting somebody off for losing? And the numbers are really interesting. The numbers are fascinating to me because they don't want the numbers out there. Like they want mass on that commission said they want to know the number of players in the Bay State who have been limited by sports books. They're going to ask and make the books tell them how many times are you putting this person off, dropping them down to $1.50 a bet. And I can't wait to see what their answer is going to be to this.
The losing player thing, the way it's always been done, that I've seen from being here in Vegas for 21 years, is a self-reporting. You have to self-limit yourself.
Which is...
You know how hard that is to do? It's hard. I mean, I have to go here. I love doing this, but I'm going broke and I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul and I'm doing all this other stuff. I need to stop, but I can't because I really enjoy it. So I have to fill out this form. And it's one of the most humbling experiences that I've ever seen. When someone says, I have to fill out the what's it called? The self-limiting. It's not the self-limiting. It's the
reporting.
You have to fill out a form, turn it in, and literally say, put me on a list. Don't take my bets.
I know in Mass it's done online. It's quicker on Massachusetts. Yeah. You can do it on an app in Massachusetts.
You can do it. You can do it on an app now on everything. There's an app for everything.
Okay.
But that takes a lot of, that's like someone who has a drinking problem going and saying, I have to stop drinking. I have to go get help. Someone that has a drug problem.
Self-exclusion form.
Self-exclusion. You have to do it.
The chat saying?
Self-exclusion. That's it, Felchetti. And it's hard. So is that on the book to say, look, man, you lose all the time. We got to cut you off. Who's that on? Is a bartender stop serving an alcoholic drinks?
They can be. They're held liable.
They're held liable. Exactly.
Somebody goes and drives. If you overserve, guy drives drunk, kills somebody, the bartender in the bar, they're held liable for the overserving.
Right. So you have to do that. I mean, we're reading stories about people getting drugged, maybe or maybe not, in casinos to then gamble away all this money that they were given on a credit limit. So the loser has to self-limit, yet the winner gets limited by the book. current situation, that more often than not, yes.
And that's why the Mass Committee, when they see that, and I think that was the number one takeaway today, was, wait, what? Like that was the number one for me, reading between the lines and watching the way the committee was discussing without the books presently there, obviously. But the number one issue was like, wait a minute. So they can limit for winning, but not limit for losing. This doesn't make any sense to us. So I think the way that my home state has always operated, and it's not always correct. I'll give it to you. Sometimes it's way overstepping and it's way too much government intervention for some people. Okay. But Mass likes to be involved. There's a lot of committees. There's a lot of people getting paid to do a lot of things. There's a lot of taxation going on. There's a lot of money being spent on committees just like this. But they have to justify their jobs. And if you make them out to look a certain way and you don't respect the way the state's doing business, they're going to make you respect what they're doing. And maybe that means the books will leave. Maybe some books will say, we don't want to be here anymore. I don't think Mass cares all that much. DraftKings will never leave the state. It's a top 5 employer in Massachusetts. MGM has a gigantic multi-million-dollar property in the western part of the state. They're not leaving the state. Those two companies alone will make it very difficult for anybody to just say, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm out.
Well, they'll outsource the sports books. Like it's not that big of a, if there's
for FanDuel, how do you
outsource
it with FanDuel? It's a lot of money. FanDuel is going to leave the DraftKings. It's a big race going on between those two companies. You're going to leave the entire, all of Boston.
Live there, right?
You leave all of Boston. It's a lot of money you're going to leave on the handle. For DraftKings will take it. They'll be in heaven if FanDuel were to pull out of Massachusetts. That'd be a dream for DraftKings if Mass only. Oh, that'd be a dream. That would be absolutely tremendous if they were able to do that. The tax rate's going to rise. I am fully confident that is going to happen now. But I do think there's going to be a lot more regulation come into play. And I think they're going to make the books who want to stay in the state, probably DraftKings, explain themselves as to, hey, what are you doing with this? And if you don't answer it, we'll answer it for you.
Well, I guess if that's what they make the legislation say, that they can ask the questions and demand answers, then they will. But I think the books have to do business how they have to do business. It's not an easy business. And there's people looking to take your money every day.
Fair. But Captain Jack did point out, and this is sort of like the circa prime sports books of the world, that there are low margin books that are not doing this. And the committee was like, wait, what? And they were like, why? And he's like, well, your barrier to entry is pretty high.
You can't get in.
It's hard to come into this state. So that's good. I mean, I think that's good for the commission to hear that, to be like, hey, if you're going to drive certain books out of the state because you want it done a certain way, you may want to make it more hospitable for smaller time operators to come in who are going to abide by your practices. So I thought that was a good moment in the whole conversation of maybe we need to make it more friendly for certain books to operate here in the state. If you want to raise the tax rate, that's fine, but make it easier to come into the state and operate there.
That's a fair assessment, but it's not a level playing field. You can't compete with that book that's spending $1 billion on advertising.
Fair.
You can't get those customers. You eventually have to have an endless.
But Circa's proven it in Illinois, though. I mean, Circa's got advertisements on the Cub pregame. They got advertised on
spending $1 zillion. That's good.
I don't know how much is $1 zillion. They're not spending as much as DraftKings and FanDuel is. We saw where DraftKings are. You walk up at, every single Subway L stop has got DraftKings all over the place.
Yes.
So Circa's not spending the same level that DraftKings, but they are spending in the state. You have to market, obviously. I mean, you have to market your product.
Which is ironic that you would limit anything if you're spending $1 billion, $1 zillion, whatever you want to put it on marketing. Why wouldn't you take bets? A lot of questions.
I don't know.
I mean, again.
But why wouldn't you answer the question? But okay, why wouldn't you take bets? But why would you say yes to answering the question and then on the morning of say no as a group? Like, oh, well, we don't want to say it. Well, you don't want to say it. We don't want to say it. It was almost like if we all are going to disclose our practices, then fine. But if one of us decides not to, or two of us decide not to, then none of us are going to. Like, it looks way more nefarious when you say you're going to do something, to lawmakers, and then you don't show up for that conversation and say, well, if I do that, I'm going to have to tell you about how I do business, and I don't want to tell you how I do business. That makes them go, well, why don't you tell me how you do business then? Like, it gets them more intrigued by what you're doing.
If you go there and you say something that they use against you because you're not actually, it's not like they asked someone who might be responsible for making a decision to limit somebody because they're making 50 grand a year trying to book the games best they can, and they don't want to get fired. So they, send a message to the trading director, whatever. This guy keeps betting second innings. Well, shut him off. Oh, okay. Shut him off. You shut him off. There's no communication back and forth. It's amazing that if you have open communication back and forth between book and player, you can resolve a lot of these issues before going to social media or having gaming commission hearings. But nobody wants the time to do that or investment in the people to do it. Instead, you get chat. I have a problem with my account. Send an email.
Right.
Click this link. Open up a chat. Go back and forth. I just need to know why I can't bet this. Well, you have to follow the procedure, but it's not always that. It's so, like, if you cut out all that BS, you could resolve a lot of these issues.
Can they compel, Nate? They can, but not in the setting today. Today was a roundtable conversation. Today was supposed to have been like very cordial. Today was supposed to have been like kid gloves. Like, let's just ask and try to figure out what's going on. What I think happened was the media got a hold of this and people started to go, oh, this is going to be interesting. Let's watch this. And they all went, oh, no. Like, this is streamed online. This is something that other states are going to pay attention to. So if we say something in Massachusetts, it's the same thing I've used with the New York tax rate. Illinois is going to raise your taxes because you pay 51% in New York. So if you go to Massachusetts and say, this is what I do in Massachusetts, Illinois is going to say, wait, are you doing that here? Well, you can't do that here. And then Ohio says, oh, wait, no, you can't do that there and here. Oh, no. It's the domino effect of what you say publicly to the Mass Gaming Commission that causes nationwide problems for every legalized sports book in legal states if they say to Massachusetts what they are doing. So they decided to say, okay, as someone said in the chat, let's just have plausible deniability and let's just take the heat that comes from us not showing up versus actually giving them the info that they want.
What's the upside for showing up?
To be, one, honoring your word. You said you would. So the upside is to play ball, to do what you said you were going to do. Just say no to begin. If they said no to begin with, I don't think this is even a conversation. But they put it on the docket a month ago that this was going to happen.
Right.
And then on the morning of, they all said, we're done. Nope, we're not coming. So like that, I think, is a bigger problem. You're going to have an issue with the commission in Massachusetts, but you're going to have an issue across the country because this is a much bigger story now because you did that.
I guess so. I just think that, the education process begins pre-license hearing. You need to ask a lot of questions like, wait, we're going to give these people a license. We don't even know how they operate. We don't even know what they're actually doing.
I don't know if that's fair because then there was an investigation into every business that does apply for a license in Massachusetts. Like,
really?
They give you a proctology in Massachusetts. Everyone has said it's a proctology exam. They go through everything. That's why most books don't want to go in there. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of lawyers. It's a lot of time and paperwork you got to fill out. People just don't want to go through it. They're annoyed with the whole thing. So like, they're mostly looking like, how are you funded? Where's your money coming from? Do you have any convicted felons on your board? Like the actual taking of bets, that I think, I mean, you've said this. I mean, look at everyone from New Jersey to New York to Florida. I mean, no one's asked the questions of the folks here in Nevada. No one came to ask you guys about how it was done. So, of course, there's going to be a learning curve. Of course, they've got to figure out how it actually goes down. It's not going to be, you're not going to be an expert in the bookmaking world overnight, right?
You don't need to be an expert. You need to learn.
Well, today was about learning.
The money and you gave the license, then you changed the rules.
Oh, absolutely. But that's life, though. Mass has done that forever. That's MO Massachusetts to change the rules midstream. That's just what they did. That's what my home state has done forever.
Yeah.
It's legal until it's not.
So
yeah, I mean, but you can stop dealing second innings. You can do that. Sure. You can stop having those things. And maybe they do that. Maybe they have conversations about what is going to be allowed. I mean, Ohio, there's 3 states in the country have already banned betting on college prop bets. Okay. There's 3 of them. The NCAA wants everyone to ban college prop betting. So you can change what you take. You can legally say what you can and cannot bet on. So Mass could say you're taking straight bets, sides and totals. That's it. If they want to.
So they can walk into a restaurant and say you can't serve asparagus anymore.
Yes. And they have done that. You can't can't serve things from different parts of the world. You can't serve things in different ways. And that's just, that happens in every business practice, what the government wants to say you can and cannot do. It may not be right or wrong, but it's just kind of how it's been.
Chris Garby just came in the chat and said 365 has closed my account for doing live bets, basically, and this has happened multiple times. That's, you have to wonder on both sides. They're undermanned on the one side. That's on the book. I've said this before. You want to deal all these markets. Well, we outsource it. Oh, you outsource it. There's companies like Canby and what's the big one that's all over the world that provides odds? Sport Trade.
Sport Radar?
Sport Radar.
Okay.
They provide these numbers and they have no risk. And then as the operator, you take that because you want to compete. You want to offer all these menus instead of just taking bets. So because you've been told that if you don't offer this, you can't compete. Their answer back is they'll send you a report.
Right.
They'll send you a report. These guys are beating you. You should shut them off. Really? Okay. Well, we're paying you. You're our consultant service. You're our odds provider. Shut them off. We'll get new people. I mean, like, it can be as dumb as that. Like, there's that. Chef Benny said hot dogs are delicious. Not everybody wants to see how they're made. Well, they're going to ask all these questions and they're going to get answers. They're going to be like, what did we get in this business for?
Well, here's a good question.
Was it worth it?
Our friend Joe Brennan just tweeted this, and I think it's a great question. How come DraftKings is willing to talk about that topic on CNBC, but not to the Mass Gaming Commission?
Why? What do you think?
I think it's because he didn't want to answer the questions from someone who actually had the teeth to do something about it.
Of course.
So, but that's a great question. I'm bringing that up because they're going to stack a case against these guys. They're going to start to bring up all these different things. I'm going, wait a minute, you said this in front of this person and this person. You don't want to give these guys, you don't want to put a cattle prod up the ass of this commission. You don't want to do it. You don't want to piss these guys off like this. This is really stupid. Like, they live for this. In Massachusetts, They live for this shit. Like, they live for the spotlight where you just put them in, where they can go and hold someone who they think might be doing something wrong and make them a spectacle. Like, it's not smart to do this in my state. I've seen this too many times where all of a sudden the guy who is the head of the Mass Gaming Commission, nobody knows who he is. In 3 weeks, he might be known by everybody because he might be standing up there and, having one of those press conferences where he's saying this.
He's
and
brand
this,
new
this.
too.
Okay.
Right.
So
he's brand new.
I've never seen the guy before today. I know who he is. But if you
it was someone else had the job originally.
Right. She left.
That okayed all these licenses and no longer there.
So, like, I think it's one of those things of like, are you trying to make, like, to see if the guy has any balls? Are you trying to see if the guy has any cojones to actually go ahead and make this a really big push? Like, that's one of those things where it's like, guys, I know you're trying to be like a united front. Like, we don't think this is fair. But then you should have just told them to fly a kite. You just said, we're not answering your questions. They were worried that if they did that, then they would be put under oath to answer these questions. So they waited all the way till the committee was meeting in the morning to say, nope, we're not coming. They knew for weeks they weren't showing up. I guarantee it. They knew for a long time they were never showing up to this.
Wow.
And just decided, the lawyer said, hey, don't tell them ahead of time, because if you do, they'll just scrap it. Like, go ahead and go forward with it. Show them that, like, make them think you're going to have it, and then just don't show up. It's not a subpoena. That was a voluntary thing for them to be a part of it. The next time, it may not be voluntary.
Who's going to make it not voluntary?
Well, the gaming commission can put your license up. So it's contingent on you having a license here in the state. You better show up and have this conversation with us.
Okay.
I mean, there's lawyers and there's court cases, and we'll see what happens, but they can make it very difficult for people to operate in the state.
And they've done this before on where? Congress, House of Representatives, Capitol Hill.
What do you mean?
Done hearings like this where they told you to come.
Well, it depends on the state. I mean, every state's different, right? On this stuff, like federal law is different than state law. So it depends upon what the state law is in terms of mandating appearance and putting somebody under oath, what they have to do to make a case to justify that behavior. But it's Massachusetts. They'll find a way to justify that behavior,
right?
To get you under oath, to make sure you have to answer it.
I mean, because like I've seen hearings, and by no means am I a lawyer. I did not go to law school and am not a lawyer, and don't even try to pretend to play one, but I like to ask questions. I'm thinking, like baseball, right?
Okay.
They made baseball players go and say they were
under oath. Yeah, there was a federal hearing as to whether or not
they were doing steroids or not.
FTC type, Federal Trade Commission.
Looked right at them all and said no.
And lied them all. And lied to them all.
What's the purpose anyway? If we're just trying to get to the truth.
Well, remember, Roger Clemens was in court cases for years afterwards for that. I mean, he spent millions and millions and millions. They buried that guy for lying to Congress. Same thing with Andy Pettit. I mean, so they lied to Congress, but they paid a pretty good price for it, for lying to Congress. You lie to the Mass Gaming Commission, you won't operate in the state. So, I mean, I don't know if every book gets up there and lies in unison, then that might put the commission in a problem place. But
right,
DraftKings is a top 5 employer in the state. Like,
they'll move to a different state.
Their entire operation.
They got an unbelievable facility here. They could, they could transfer tomorrow.
They employ a pin drop of people in Nevada than they do in Massachusetts.
You want to work for DraftKings, you move to Vegas. We got a facility.
It's not just sports betting. It's DFS too.
Right.
It's all of it. It's operating. Really? Ship betting, Rhode Island? I think we tried that once. And I think we saw Kurt Schilling showed what happens in Rhode Island when he tried to do that. I wouldn't go near Rhode Island.
I don't know if that's going to work.
I wouldn't go near Rhode Island either. I mean, I guess you could go to Connecticut, but there is, crazy as Massachusetts. I mean, that's where Blumenthal is. You want to go to Blumenthal's home state? Good luck. Like, it would be wild to watch you move it there.
If the book tells you all the secrets and how the battle is basically won and lost, and Butchie said it in there in the chat, which made me think of it. All you do is open up the beards. Everybody will have a beard. I hate growing a beard. I can't do it. But the amount of beards that will come in to books will be way almost uncontrollable because there's betting bots now.
Right. But isn't that up to the operator to determine that and to police that? State doesn't care about that. It's up to the operator. That's your problem, not the state's problem.
It's not the state's problem.
So what do they care? I mean, state doesn't care whether there's beards everywhere. They don't care.
I mean, God forbid they ever did this with the FCC and Wall Street, with how they changed the way trading was done. And now, the regular guy has no shot really in trading. I mean, just buy index funds and leave it. That's fine. But there's guys that are making moves in and out of stuff all the time. They'll do the same thing with the books. It's the same thing. And the books are control of their own business right now. If they go the route that you keep talking about with this federal thing, one thing, one market, one whatever, everybody abides by the same
I don't
rules
think that'll ever happen. I don't think that will ever pass. Because the states aren't going to give it to the federal government. The federal government can pass laws on advertising. That's what they can pass laws on. because they can dictate to CBS and NBC, and they can dictate to Amazon and all the different places that have games. They can dictate that because it's crossing state lines. So you must, to send your signal out, you must cross state lines. So they can make it illegal for you to do that with certain types of advertising. They'll never be able to dictate tax rate. Like, I think it might go the other way, where they may repeal the excise tax, which is what something is. I mean, people here in Nevada have asked that forever, to get rid of the excise tax. So they might do that, but I don't ever believe that there will be, quote unquote, a federal law that says everyone will abide by these rules in how to run a sports book. They could have right after PASPA. They could have.
Yeah.
That going there, PASPA, when you had that window, you could have jumped in and said, okay, there's no state law that says you can't have sports betting. Here's a federal law that says here's the rules. But nobody wanted that. Like, that's once the Supreme Court said, hey, there's no federal jurisdiction here, state by state, go ahead. New Jersey won. New Jersey would have gone right back into court if the federal government had come back and said, okay, fine, we're going to pass a law that states, this is how sports betting will be done nationwide. There's all sorts of problems. Why? Utah, Alabama. I mean, these are states that don't want anything to do with sports or gambling or lotteries, period. So it would have been very difficult to get a federal bill passed.
Very difficult.
So it's going to all be about the advertising. That's what they have the power to really expand.
Well, the advertising.
That's it.
The funding of accounts.
What do you mean
it's going to
funding?
be easy to move money?
What do you mean funding of the accounts? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? How do you get money in and out of accounts? You can't do it
federal
with credit cards.
The Fed will get involved in that?
They already are on certain levels. You have to abide by the Know Your Customer, KYC stuff.
That's on the book side. Okay, right.
You have to. Well, I mean, the book a lot of times can't take a deposit the way a customer wants it deposited because the rules dictate we can't take it that way. So they're gonna cut off the advertising. They're gonna cut off the money. They're gonna cut off the this. They're gonna cut. I mean, all this has happened to books 27 years ago. They can't come at the book.
You mean the offshores? You mean?
Yeah, this all happened. This is another chapter in the movie.
My only issue with that is that you're talking about, in the grand scheme of things, a very low number of transactions. So I don't know if the federal government would say you can't use a MasterCard.
What are you talking about? They limited deposits in England to $20 a day.
That's in England. It's not here.
They're going to come here and do the same thing.
You think they're going to make it so you can't put more than $20 into an account in America?
They're going to. Absolutely, because you have to cater to the people that have a problem.
I don't think
so. You have to limit the amount of money, the way you can do it, how many times frequently you can do it.
Well, that I can see. How many times you could do it, I can see that. But the amount of money being $20,
4 times a month. You can take a deposit 4 times a month.
I don't buy that. Well, I don't believe that. Like in America, I don't buy that. I mean, that's
okay.
I mean, that would be somewhat of that. That would be hard for anyone to justify, like to stand up there on a campaign stump and say that, and like, this is what we support. I don't think anybody would be like, yeah, that makes sense to have it be $20. I mean, Chick-fil-A meals are $20.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, that's insane. Like that's
You're telling me, right? But it's my money. I can't deposit it. I have it.
Well, they can deposit it, but when the KYC, the when do you take and when do you not take? It goes right back to the limiting of gamblers, because you'll take it from Mattress Mac, you'll take it from Dave Portnoy, you'll take it from people that are going to give you a social media pop, but you're not going to take it from the guy who's betting the second inning, totals. So that's a problem.
Well, you can't universally apply limits to every market either. If you tell people what the limits are per market. Like Circuit does a great job with that.
They do.
They tell you, look, we're taking 500 on this. We're taking 100,000 on this. We're taking 5,000 on this. We're taking 2 dimes on this. Like, it's all there. So you know what the limit is prior to making the bet. You determine if that's the number you want, then that's the amount you want to bet it. You can do it. And I used to tell people all the time, you literally can bet it again. We have 2 minutes. If it give us 120 seconds. If we don't move it in 120 seconds, it's fair game. Bet it again. Now I've put the onus on us and the guys moving the numbers to make sure that no one else gets it.
Yeah, look, I think this is somewhat true. I mean, you can't use credit cards to pay for cannabis.
That's what I'm saying.
That's true. But there are different ways now that the states have come around on this. Like some states are allowing you to do that. Some states are having different arrangements with different companies to allow you to use debit card. Most are still cash only. Nevada is cash only. Colorado, I believe, is still cash only. Other states have made different changes trying to allow you to use credit cards, to use bank wires and whatnot. And some have accounts, and it's just different ways of doing it. I think I think this conversation is larger than just Massachusetts, and that's why the books didn't show up today, because they are concerned about saying something that's going to be more problematic in other jurisdictions than just Massachusetts, and they would rather not be on the record saying something on camera about the way that they limit players.
I didn't see any upside. I mean, I just told them we're good.
Right?
Like, who's going to be there? Who's asking the questions? We're good. Do we? I from the book's perspective, I don't know. I didn't see any upside in it.
But they said yes.
That
was the problem. They should never have said yes.
Right.
All right. What happened last night? Oilers win Game 7 on the road at Vancouver, 3-2. This is your Final Four: Oilers, Stars, Panthers, Rangers. None of them have won the Cup this century, Dave.
Right.
Who wins the Cup?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No idea.
Wow.
Any one of the four could win. No, I can't eliminate one team.
Fair. I agree. It's a good Final Four.
Not eliminate one team.
Although I am surprised the Stars and the Oilers, the Stars are above the Rangers in the odds. That does surprise me. Dallas and Florida are co-favorites. Rangers are the longest shot at plus 320.
Yeah, you have to make.
Why? Because the President's Cup is that a thing? Is that
you have to make one on each side. The favorites. By the way, I'm going to wear all the hats that at my haul that I got from our Chicago trip. This is the Bet Caddy. Watch responsibly. It says underneath. Thank you, boys. Tony, Ryan, thank you for hooking us up with these hats. So, bet over on the hats today.
Do you think it's Dallas, Florida in the Cup final?
No, doesn't have to be at all. No,
it doesn't have to be. Do you think it's
if Igor is Igor and wins a couple games for them, the Rangers are going.
Which is best for you?
And
what scenario do you want?
This one would be good.
Florida?
Dallas would be good. That would be all right.
Chalky though, no? Really? That's good.
Florida, yeah. A lot of the others tickets went away with the Nuggets. I had them tied to the Nuggets. So the only ones I have left with Minnesota are this match. Florida, either way. Florida, Edmonton, Florida. Dallas is good. I don't know. Edmonton showed me a lot last night. I got home from dinner and watched the game and was like,
even in the third period when they started to collapse, you're okay with that?
Yeah, they held on and won.
White knuckle ride held on and won, though. A couple of breakaways there. Vancouver had some chances dead to rights to tie that game up. They just missed the net. A couple of shots just simply missed the net.
It felt like, I don't know. They sat back too long. Like Vancouver just sat back too long. Watching the game again.
First two periods, yeah.
Just not distracted after the dinner and everything. I watched it and I went, why did wait so long to play like this in the third period?
PK was flipping out. PK was every period was like, what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Like he was getting really angry to put the puck on the net. Just put the puck on the net. Stop having a perfect shot. Just put the puck on the net and see what happens. And the second goal for Edmonton was scored that way. And he was like, see, just put the puck on the net and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then they scored two, and he was like, I don't know. He's like, Rick Tuckett's a really smart coach. I have no idea what they were doing for two periods. The third period, they woke up.
Did you end up when we did Sports Grid yesterday on a Monday,
Yep.
which may or may not ever happen again? I hope it does, but I don't know. Um, did you end up doing anything on Edmonton, at least for the game?
No,
Nothing.
I did. I went 3-0 on the game. So I made up the money I lost on that Vancouver future. So we're all good. So I got the game under right, over 3.5, second period, over 1.5 goals.
Bang.
So it all worked out. So let that fly, let it roll. And I was just praying for Vancouver to do something special. And I was like, all right, we're good here. If I lose one of those, because if they had tied it, it was 3-3, then I probably would have bet Edmonton because I'd already lost the over. I'd lost the under bet. So as long as it stayed under, I didn't care. If they scored 3-3, hell yeah, would have been Edmonton to win the game.
Right.
I got not a sour taste in my mouth, but I was too quick. I learned a little bit about my own bankroll, my own risk tolerance during the NCAA tournament when I was pretty aggressively hedging off of the tickets I had purchased. And I ended up winning it because of nothing that I had bet before the tournament. I was up because of NC State. If NC State didn't do what NC State did, it would have been a disastrous NCAA tournament for me.
Right.
But I got that 16-1 to come in with them to win their bracket, with them, playing in the semifinal of their bracket, going into that, not taking money line, but taking them at 16-1 to win the next 2 games. And they did. So I learned a little bit about just, all right, I was hedging too aggressively. I was digging myself into a hole, and then it wasn't playing out because they still had to win 8 games. That was my problem. If Vancouver had won last night, they still had 8 games to win.
Right.
For that 27-1 ticket to cash. So I didn't want to I felt like I was too early to start hedging on it. And I was like, I was going to put myself into a massive hole, and then Vancouver could still lose. And then I wouldn't have been up because I would have had to keep on doubling the bet, like 1 unit, 2 units, 4 units, 8 units. You know what I mean? So that's why I decided to say, hey, if it ties and I lose the under, then I'll bet on Edmonton, but I didn't lose the under.
Right.
So just my own personal thing as to how it was fun. We did well last night. Whitrock,
yeah.
We cashed some tickets last night. It was fun.
Speaking of Whitrock, I got this from Whitrock himself.
I got one of those too. It's a nice Iowa Hawkeye hat. I like it too.
That yellow's bright.
Pops.
Woo!
It's a black.
Yeah.
That Hawkeye.
Well, Iowa shout out right there to Whitrock. Boys from Iowa.
Caitlin Clark is struggling. 0-4 on the year so far for the Indiana Fever.
It was a hell of a basketball game though
last night. So the Mavs and the Stars are both still alive.
Yes.
How about this? Just the 5th time since 1982 that teams who share an arena are both in the Final Four of the NBA and the NHL.
Oh, the City Parlay.
But they're the same building. It's not even a city parlay. They both play in the same building.
Most of the time, the basketball and the hockey do.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah. So
first time since 82. This is just the 5th time since 82 this has happened. This is a rarity. You work at that arena, you're busy.
So the Dallas, I mean, it's a shame that the Knicks aren't in there, and the MSG could still lay claim to that. They got a little more open time now because the Knicks lost. Tough L. Just drifted off there for a second thinking about that. Can the Dallas parlay get there in the conference finals?
What's a Streisand effect? You ever heard
effect?
Yeah, have you ever heard that terminology?
Regarding what?
Chat, tell me what a Streisand.
Well, Frozen. He's looking at something. He's looking right now. Snap your fingers. Come back. Come on. There you are. All right, you're back.
Okay.
Hello.
Our friends at the Fair Play Initiative, the people that cut the clip of the show, which is the first time I've seen a Twitter account cut the clip of the show and do it themselves yesterday.
How about that?
We appreciate them doing that.
Thank you, Fair Play Initiative.
So the Fair Play Initiative is researching sports betting and fantasy sports policy in the U.S. So it's a Twitter account that's doing stuff like we just did for 45 minutes on the show. But they wrote about the Mass Gaming Commission, the no-show, saying it was going to be an uncomfortable meeting for the sports books, but this has massive Streisand effect potential. What does that mean? I've
Don't know.
never heard that before. Is it like a butterfly effect type of thing?
We'll have to read up on that. I really don't know in that context.
I don't know what that means.
The Streisand effect is an unintended consequence of attempts to hide, remove, or censor information, where the effort instead increases public awareness of the information. Thank you, Tues. There you
Big
go.
words. And Fair Play Initiative is big. That's big words,
Right?
Okay, interesting. According to Wikipedia, Streisand effect is. All right, there we go. Thank you, Jordan. One star. Appreciate that.
Thank you. 1 star and the juice right there.
Okay, interesting. So watch and see how that's going to. But I agree. Yes, it has a potential for have lots of fallout. I would totally agree with that. From what happens in the future for the books not showing up. Not a smart move. First ever meeting between the Celtics and the Pacers tonight. Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals. Boston is a whopping 10-point favorite in this game tonight. The total is now back up to 222.5 because someone was putting it at 220.5. What type of bleeping head fake was that last night, dropping this thing to 220.5 from a total perspective? Talk about dropping it, making the books drop it down to only come in and bury on the over.
I can't wait till there's gaming commission hearings on asking these questions. Why'd you guys move the line like that the day before and then move it back up
to 220.5?
Yeah, well,
and only to get buried on the over immediately after.
I can't wait when they have these questions. I'll be hopefully in some island somewhere answering it via Zoom in between surfing lessons,
like everybody else.
Yeah,
this morning.
We got to the number, right? This is the number. 10 is the number.
Is it?
Yeah. You have to give somebody a reason to take Indiana.
Too heavy.
I keep saying
10 is too heavy. God, it's too heavy. Just don't understand it.
I'm surprised, though, after we went through the totals yesterday of the games that they played, that it's only 220. Like, I can't wait to see.
It was 220.5 last night.
If we miss with this number by 30 points. Like if they score 250 today, what's the line the next game?
We'll know quick. Like we will know very fast in this game whether we're talking about 260 or not. Because if it's like 30-30 after 6 minutes, it's just some stupid back and forth. To be like, oh, okay, good job, guys. Way to put the because the theory that I heard from everybody in the quote unquote basketball world is that Indiana, ever since they got Pascal Siakam, is a much different defensive matchup than ever before. So Boston scored 155 on Indiana without Siakam. Boston scored 131 points without Siakam. Like that he's going to change everything. And I'm just like, okay, let's watch it. I disagree, but I've been wrong before.
Really?
Yeah, that's
one guy's going to be responsible.
The rotation's all different. The defensive acumen is, off the charts now. I'm like, they're still going to run, right? Well, yeah, they're going to run all the time. Yeah. What does Siakam have to do with anything? It's going to be a fast tempo game. We're going to go up and down. Like no one's playing half court. And Boston plays slow, but they're the most efficient offense in the NBA. And they drill threes like crazy. So you can play slow and score a lot of points because you can shoot 17 threes.
I don't know. It seemed obvious for almost every game of the Knicks and the Pacers series to bet over. It seems painfully obvious to bet the over tonight. Sometimes the obvious is wrong. Maybe it's a Streisand effect. I don't know. But this feels like one of those ones where we go, all right. I mean, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Right
Are they soft? I don't know if I'd say they're soft, Jimmy Jack. I'm not sure I agree with that they're soft. I just don't think that they play 60 points in the first half. Team total is not high, LL. Sorry, that is not high. It's crazy high. What, guys, have you been paying attention at all to what I've been saying? It's not high. It's not high.
I mean, the regular season, this was 63, 62.
Yeah, this is low. 60 is low. 59.5 at FanDuel right now. It's still 59.5, minus 108. Not even expensive. You can get team total. Boston Celtics first half right now.
Give the crew that's here something to vote on after they listen to us bloviate for 40 minutes about the Massachusetts Gaming Commission hearing. Pacers plus 10.
Ooh, they changed it. Wow, YouTube changed this up. What? Tell me if this looks different when I post it. What are we putting on?
Pacers +10, Celtics -10. If you have to pick a side in this game, what are you picking? Vote in the poll while you're here.
Let's see if it's a special. Oh, it is special. It's different now. It's white.
It's always been for me.
Okay, looks different on my end now.
Really?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Is Porzingis still out? Yes, Garby, he's out still. Yes.
Yes.
The poll is different. Okay, Nikki, thank you. The poll is different. It looks different on my end.
Does it?
For sure. Yeah, looks definitely different on my end.
Okay. Oh, it looks the same on the mobile on the phone.
He said it used to be all black. Yeah, it used to be gray for me. Now it's white.
Okay.
So the poll is different. I would agree, Pierre. 10 in the Eastern Conference Finals is wild, but the numbers would dictate that this won't be close. Like this is going to be a blowout.
This is great. That's Pierre in the cut, guys. He's a barber in Indianapolis. Go see him, get your hair cut, and watch the show on Thursday in the shop while he's there cutting your hair. Because he's putting on the show in his barbershop exclusively on Thursdays. So, Pierre,
oh my God, these guys are doing an incredible job. Sorry to keep on going back to this, but they just pulled the timestamp for all the books that pulled out. When did they tell that they weren't going to show up?
Who did that?
The Fair Play Initiative. Times and dates, timestamps on emails from sportsbooks notifying the MGC of pulling out from today's meeting. They gave them a pretty good heads up. But according to DraftKings, Penn, MGM, yesterday afternoon, Encore Boston this morning at 8 o'clock.
Huh.
So Caesars was yesterday at 4:30. FanDuel and Fanatics Friday and Saturday. So it wasn't all in unison. It was a drip, drip, drip.
Right.
As to who pulled out. It wasn't all in one big swoop who pulled out.
Right.
But there were 4 books that did it either yesterday late in the day or this morning.
Who were the first 2 that said no?
Fanatics Friday afternoon, the 17th. FanDuel Saturday afternoon at 11 a.m. Saturday. Caesars yesterday at 4:28.
Are they all running in Mass?
Fanatics, Caesars, DraftKings, Penn, MGM. Yes. Encore Boston Harbor's not. Because it's when.
Well, Penn is not, right? Penn is
ESPN bets not league, not ESPN.
Oh,
bets
maybe they are under that.
Yeah, ESPN bets in Massachusetts. So. Oh yeah. They're operating in Mass.
Right.
DraftKings, MGM, Penn are all operating in Mass. Caesars all operating in Massachusetts. FanDuel, Fanatics, they're all legal.
Wow, so far Pacers +10 is leading the poll.
I think it's fair. I do. I think that's a fair point to do that. So here's a bet that I'll give to to Zeno and Wetzel from last night. I trailed this.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana to win 2 games at +130 at DraftKings.
Yes.
It's kind of surprising, is it not? +130? It's gone up. It was +125. Now it's +130.
A lot of people like the Celtics.
To blast them?
You said it to me last night. You think it's 4 or 5 more likely than 6.
No, I think it's 6 more likely. I can see 4 and 5. I said my prediction is Boston in 6.
Okay.
That's my prediction. But I think I could see 7. I could see 4. I could see 5. I think 4-2 Boston's the most likely thing to happen.
Yeah. I think they win 2 games. So
yeah, I don't know. Dave Daily Pick, that's the same bet. Over 5.5 games, FanDuel. It's the same bet. As Pacers, right. +2.5 games.
Yeah, you can bet total games. There's so many different ways to bet it. And when you look, it is the same bet. The odds are very similar. They should be
+130. They are. The same bet. +130. Yeah. I'm both DraftKings and FanDuel. It's the same bet. I think Indiana wins 2 games. I think it's decent. The idea of Boston going 4-0, 4-1, the only 2 scenarios that beat you for making this bet is Boston 4-0, 4-1. Every other scenario, this cashes.
On Fridays, we do Roll Call Friday where you put your 3-digit area code in the chat. Yep. We shout you out every Friday. Put the number of games in the chat right now if you're watching a show. How many games did this series go? I'll be interested to see.
Did this. Didn't we already do this once? It was basically 5 was the fundamental.
5 was the majority number?
5 or 6 was the majority number, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. I want to see if more people put 6 than
Yeah, see, everyone,
5. Does
everyone's
anybody
saying
put
5.
7?
No, no one's putting 7.
Nobody's putting 7?
No. 5, 6, 6.
One star said
6.
4. It's a sweep.
5. It's possible. 4. Yeah, it's all possible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's possible. Boston's not losing, but if you make this play, it covers every scenario in which Indiana wins. 4-3, 4-2, 4-1, 4-0 Indiana, all covered. 4-2 Boston, 4-3 Boston, covered. Only 2 scenarios that you lose. It's 4-0, 4-1. So I think that's why it's a good bet. Throw you 1 unit down on this. It's a good bet.
Right.
Plus
6,
at plus
6.
130.
There, Covey said 7. There we go.
It's possible. Pacers at 3.
Pacers.
These 4 teams left, there's not a single MVP, current or former, on these teams with the 4 teams that are left. Is that okay for the NBA that we've got a lot of new blood?
Does this get to the argument where you should be betting the guy to win the NBA Finals MVP instead of the future?
I hate that bet. I just hate it because you're taking human.
I mean, doesn't Ant get it for Minnesota?
Yeah, but you need
Doesn't Luka
humans.
get it.
You're predicting human behavior. I hate that.
I know.
Human voting
to do this though.
Human voting behavior.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum's the MVP if Boston wins. No, Derek White could be, by the way. I mean, Derek White could be the MVP of the NBA Finals with the way he's played this year.
They're going to vote Derek White.
They could. Yes, people have paid attention. People who are there watching the Celtics every single game know what Derek White is. He's the most important player on Boston's team.
Jimmy Jackson, I hope Boston plays serious every game. They lose focus so quickly.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
That's the case.
Oh, there's no debate. Why they lose game 2 in both series so far? They've won. They haven't lost on the road yet. Game 3, game 4. Won them both easily against Miami and Cleveland. Because on the road, you must be more focused. You can't take plays off. You get booed. You get yelled at. You get screamed at.
It's my contribution to wearing any green today. This is courtesy of Vinny Konowinski.
Oh, wow.
This is the Fort Wayne Tin Caps lid.
Last night in the juice.
You got the green one. I got the Manzanas Luchadoras version of this hat. Thank you, Vinny. It looks great. It feels great. It's a sweet ass fitted hat that I will wear proudly. Should have had him autograph it or something, though.
Fair. Watch your ears, boys and girls. On to football. Going into the Brigade Proxy Service NFL story of the day. We are taking reservations, and every day we're getting more people to email. Canada this morning came calling to make an appointment with us.
See them in August.
For August, you're going to go to thebvbshow.com, or you're going to text us at 702-570-8255. Either way, leave us a message at both those, or both if you want, or either or. When and where? Coming in this day, this time. Would like to be a part of the Brigade Proxy Service. We've got you for both Circa Million and Survivor. There's going to be this week a pretty cool announcement. But there's going to be a big announcement this week that you guys are going to want to hear about, involving Circa Survivor and Circa Millions.
Maybe on the show.
Maybe on the show, even an announcement coming up here for what's going to happen for Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. And you guys also, obviously later this summer on July the 1st, the Westgate Super Contest will be open as well. Brigade Proxy Service can take care of all your football handicapping needs this coming football season. Easy. For more info, go to thebvbshow.com. We now know
570-TALK. 702-570-825-570-2570. Talk.
Or just go to the website. Either or. It works.
Either or.
We now know why the Patriots sucked last year, or at least in the last couple of years. Patriot players are
Hold on, I'm getting the list and glasses.
Patriot players are actually, this is true, okay? Speaking to the media, saying that, things haven't changed all that much, but we don't have Bill Belichick screaming at us and swearing at us every practice. Like, Keon White is the one quoted in this story saying we don't have Bill Belichick cursing us out every play anymore.
Nah.
But it's pretty similar when he's asked about the differences between the Patriot way now in the Patriot way under Belichick, that Gerard Mayo doesn't scream and yell. I mean, I don't understand all of this. Now, in his defense, he does say, quote, I do miss it. I like Bill. He's my type of coach. I like a hard ass. I like that. I respond well to things like that. But Mayo's done a pretty good job too. It's all different. Mayo's doing a really good job of staying true to himself, not trying to fill anyone else's shoes, but create his own path. But I really respect that. But the fact that he said it out loud leads me to believe that this was talked about in the locker room about how Bill was too hard on so many players. And this is why Bill is not employed right now. Because if you're 60-year-old, you're 60 plus right now in the NFL, the owners don't want you. The league doesn't want you because these players don't want to be yelled at, don't want to be cursed at. They just want to be, like, I don't know, tapped on the head and say, good job. It's going to be very interesting to see how the NFL next couple of years, how this goes. Football's a violent game. It's a violent sport.
Tapped on the head and said, good job.
Yeah. Like, good job, Timmy. Good job.
Oh,
go get some oranges. Good job. I don't know. I mean, look, you can't get yelled at by Bill or by any coach. Yikes. Like, come on. Belichick was too harsh. He was too mean. He was too, he yelled at us and he called us names. It's so not fair. Like, come on, boys. Like, what are we doing? I agree, Chef. Patriots are an underdog in every game this year, which I love, by the way. I think that's great because I do think they're going to win 5 games, maybe even 6. I do. And the more that Brady is around Drake May, the happier I am. Give me Coach Brady as much. Do you see what Tom said in that roundtable, that discussion to all the rookies?
I had my fill of roundtables already. This
fair,
morning.
but
I did not see a roundtable.
Michael Rubin brought Brady in to talk to all the rookies that Fanatics has signed as being Fanatics athletes, and Tom had a really good line. He was basically like, "None of you are going to win because you all are about you. No one's about us. No one's about team anymore. If you want to win, you better be about the team. If you're about yourself, you're not going to win in this league." And I was like, yes, yes. Give me more of that, please. Give me more of those opportunities. Fair. But it was great.
A lot of selfish people in this world.
See what Brady was saying to these kids. Hopefully they'll pay attention. And Drake May, pay attention. Absorb it. Drink it all in. Be around the guy.
Yeah, it's very hard.
More for us.
Does he tell them that in between, like, the roast and then the flying to the other places to do all the stuff he does? I'm just curious because Tom's a pretty big wee guy now.
Busy man. No, he's a team owner. He's a team owner. Tom is now he's owning of a boat racing team. They won a big race over in Europe.
Really?
TB12 boat racing. Yeah, I don't know. I forget what it's called. But it's like speed racing on water. It's like NASCAR on water. That he's got some team that he's the owner of that they won. We didn't talk about this because we were off, but Scotty Scheffler's arraignment has been delayed till June 3rd. But can you believe that actually happened? That Scotty Scheffler got arrested before he played the second round
of
the PGA
in Chicago, right? So just as context, first I want to shout out the Ola Long Beach bar. Just put us on all their TVs.
What's up?
Thank you, Gio DeWap. He's working. Guerrilla marketing. How can more people see BVB? Turn on the television. Follow along. Get subscribed to the stream. All of it. YouTube channel @ Boston versus the book. I wake up Friday after a very late night Thursday.
Yeah.
Very late night Thursday. And I'm kind of groggy. Don't know where I'm at. Turn on the television. And I see Scotty Scheffler got arrested. And I was like, what? How could this be? And then immediately I thought, what do you do in this situation in the book? I mean, is there a stipulation? The guy played the first round. All bets are good.
Of course.
Get arrested.
Oh, it's
what
live.
do we do? Like, I started thinking all these things. So then I'm on the Twitter and I'm going, what's the number? Like, he's out. He's going to show up and play. This is fascinating to me. goes and puts up a good number. Like
66. Yeah,
shot
I should have
66.
faded him on Saturday. I knew, like, I talked about it on Sports Grid a lot with Ranieri on Saturday, but like there's a thing in lifting and working out with called the 2-day soreness.
2
And
days.
like
Second
you're not sore
no.
the day after. You're sore the day after, the second day.
Second day.
And after all the adrenaline had worn off from him getting arrested, he was doing his pre-shot or pre-round workout and warm-up in the jail cell. He was in the jail cell. And so
hips loose.
He goes and shoots a 66 on Saturday out of the gate. I mean, wayward drives, and like he was just a mess on Saturday. So then I came back on Sunday, and I did bet him on Sunday. He was under 67.5. I bet him under 67.5 on Sunday. He shot 65, I believe, on Sunday. So he went out and played really, really well.
Yeah.
And that's true, CBW. He did not have his normal caddy on Saturday either. That's true. But I don't think that's why he performed so poorly. His shots were just all over the place. He just had, I mean, that double bogey sent him off in a really bad way. And then he just was missing putts and driving waywardly, like very un-Scotty Scheffler type of things. But when he goes in front of the judge, like, this is going to be the weirdest scene ever. He was driving a PGA branded car.
Yeah.
Like, the body camera was conveniently shut off from the cop that was doing what the cop was doing. Like, so we don't even have like real evidence as to what exactly was going on. Like, how did he behave really? Was Scotty really being belligerent? Did Scotty really hit the guy with his car? Did he really do that?
Well, did you see the video that the ESPN guy got?
Yeah, with him walking out with two cops holding him and taking him like he's a violent felon.
Yeah,
ripping him away and putting him in the cop car. Yeah, I saw that. It was Jeff Darlington's video.
Right.
But
Jeff
we didn't see what led to that, though. We didn't see ahead of time what actually happened. And the body camera video would have shown us, did he actually hit him with his car? That's what the felony's for. Did he hit the cop with his car? It's a he said, she said at this moment.
Right. And this is part of the problem. I guess maybe we'll get more clarity, but like the whole thing was bizarre. And then I fly home Saturday night, and Sunday we're all sitting downstairs, me and the girls, and Jess is catching up on the week of events.
Right.
And she I turned to golf on, and she's like, "Did that guy get arrested on Friday?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "And he's playing today." I'm like, "Jess, he played an hour after he got arrested. He made his tee time.
They pushed it back. They pushed it back, but yeah.
Yeah. They had a rain delay, so he made it." And she's like, "So what did he shoot?" And I go, 66.
I agree with Covey.
They're going to drop the charges.
They're going to drop all the charges. They want no part of this. They want this to be good. They want this to go away. Like, this is Scheffler has already said he is going to aggressively argue and sue Louisville, the city, for this.
Whoa.
Like, you're playing with a guy with really deep pockets who's going to be able to do everything and anything and hire a lawyer team if he wants to go after this. And the fact that the cop didn't put the camera on, I'm sorry, like, that's a huge red flag. Like, it's a gigantic, like, not to have the evidence. It's, I don't know what the law is in Kentucky, but like in Nevada, it's a law. You have to have the thing on. Like, you have to have the thing on. Like, you can't shut the camera off.
We got cops in the chat. We got policemen that watch the show. We got people from all over the world that watch the show that are way more expertise at this than you or I.
True. But still a law.
I don't know what he did.
The camera's got to be on.
Driving around the barrier.
Yep.
And
thinking, but he didn't know it was a cop. He thought it was security by his words. He thought he was going around security for Valhalla, not a cop. He thought security was yelling at him, not a cop. So it was all a big misunderstanding. But the charges are for a violent felony. Like, he's got felony charges. So, like, Dave's, wait, I'm confused by this. If they hit the record button, the law has to be on, but not recording. What the hell's the point of it having it on if it's not recording? Having it on means it records. At least here in Nevada, if the thing is on, it's always recording. Like, so, like, I don't know. Like, it's just, Yeah, other PGA cars were told to go around prior to Scotty. This is a bad deal in my mind. This is one of those situations where like everyone would just be better off just letting this thing go away. Like just let it go away. Because when he gets arraigned, what are you going to do? Say he's facing 5 years in prison? Like, Scotty Scheffler is facing 5 years in jail.
The weird thing too is like that, social media, and thank God I still only have X, Twitter.
Right.
But, between Instagram, TikTok, and all this other stuff, people were like, oh, the cops had Brooks Koepka to beat Scheffler.
Stop it.
Like they started making gambling jokes
God.
about all this stuff. And I was like, oh, we just got to stop. We got to stop with all of it. Like, come on, be better. Just be better. Although I did a poll and made the number 67.5. People thought he would shoot. There were two schools of thought. He's going to be so laser focused and ticked off, he's going to shoot 63, or he's going to shoot 73.
Mm-hmm.
And
65.
People voted for the low number.
Yeah, I mean, 66 on Friday made sense. I thought he would come back to earth just because of the adrenaline jump.
Yeah.
On Saturday it happened, and then Sunday I backed him because I was like, I think he's going to rip the course apart on Sunday, and everybody ripped the course. I mean, again, if you missed the stat from yesterday, the previous low field score to par at a PGA was plus 40 before Valhalla. It was minus 214 at Valhalla.
They lit that course out.
I can't let that go. That is such an insane stat that the previous low in the history of the PGA Championship was 40 plus from the field. It was minus 214 for the 4 rounds at Valhalla. All right, Rafael Devers, 6 home runs, 6 games. He's plus 300 to do it again today. Talked about it yesterday. Do you back him again to go deep? Same price.
It's going to be the same price every day. That's the price.
3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Last 3 days. Same price.
Well, if you had it yesterday, you have to do it today, no?
I guess so, right? I mean, you're still
you're
still profitable if he misses.
Right.
Dome Stadium.
Guess we'll be watching this again.
Chance to go deep again.
Inexplicable.
Littell going for Tampa. Awesome. Their favorite total is 8.5.
He can't be stopped. I told you yesterday while we were doing Sports Grid, this guy started tweeting and following me because he's what is his account? Rafael Devers Homer or Rafael Devers Homer.
Did Rafael Devers Homer today? Yes.
Yeah. Yes or no?
Yes,
I guess he's going to tweet the video. This is great. These things are fun. The streaks in the baseball, I think you just bet it.
Right.
Take your shot. I don't know. Red Sox fans, they're not here. We got Celtics minus 10 in the poll is losing. So I think more people would bet that he does not hit a home run today. Good luck.
I mean, it's one of those, it's just one of those situations where if you have a no market, you may want to bet the no. But what's the no price? Minus 250?
No. If it's plus $3, it's more expensive. The
So
no is minus 450.
450? Okay. So
Should be minus 4 plus 3, but
do you want the no?
The next gaming commission hearing, they can talk about pricing and how to make it fair. That'll be the next thing we can talk about. What they're doing to 11 and 10 is not enough, apparently.
Well, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's 25-cent lines now.
It's absurd.
That's what it is, right? I mean, pricing's pricing. I don't think you can regulate that.
Well,
only the public can do that.
Who knows?
Hey, I mean, EDC, they were charging $94,000 for 2 huge bottles of champagne. So,
what did you say? 94,000
for 2 of the biggest, 2 gigantic, like I don't know what they're called, the hugest.
Were they as tall as the Fontainebleau Hotel?
No, they're both.
What the hell are you talking about?
They're both the size of Kendall. Size of Kendall. Yeah, 2 of those champagne bottles, size of Kendall. $94,000.
5 foot tall bottles of booze.
For 2 of them for $94,000.
$94,000.
Yep, at EDC.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So yeah, go ahead. 94,000.
Wow.
if you want to do that. So pricing is pricing. Public has to say whether they want it or not on those things. But you like Tampa yesterday. You like Tampa today?
I got to look at Chris Well.
I like Boston yesterday. I like Boston today.
Yeah. No, I got to look at Chris Well's numbers. I don't know who he is.
$1,300 for a bottle of vodka. Yep, that's right. That's true.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Nuts.
Hit your phone. Hit that next to your microphone. We could hear your buzzing. Everyone in the chat's going to think that their phones are buzzing while they're listening to this.
I didn't even see it. I don't know who it was. I don't know what that was.
Atlanta, Chicago, Cubs. Total's 11. Wind must be blowing out at Wrigley.
Right.
It's 11.
Well, now that I understand it, it's the first time I was ever there.
Yep.
Okay. You can see all those flags blowing in. We were a little high.
Yep.
I would much rather next time I go, I'm going to get
Lower.
down close and sit and kind of try to feel what that's like. But I mean, they were blindly betting that game. We were there over or under.
Sorry. Yeah.
Because the wind was blowing in and it went over.
And the vice versa the day before, the wind was blowing out and it went under.
And right. And I always said for years that it's such an overreaction, the wind in Wrigley on certain days. I don't know. I saw this pitching matchup and thought under immediately. I was shocked
11?
to see this total. I mean, it's 11 over, like it ain't even like it's done. Final score is minimum 7-6.
And that's the Braves. I don't know if it's because they think the Braves have now turned into an over team. The last 2 games of the Braves have gone. 2 of the last 3 games have gone over for the Braves. So maybe they think the Braves are due for some positive regression in offense. But I don't know.
Get it.
Yeah. That was I don't know. I would say bet the under in this game too. 11
We were
seems
sitting high, Dave's Daily Picks. I wasn't high. We were sitting high. Although there was a lot of contact highs going on at outside the stadium and everything.
Inside too.
Yeah. A lot of people
inside too.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago's a live dog there. I like the Cubs a little bit.
Okay. Arizona, Fat Stone, LAD, Dodgers, 8.5. Not that expensive. Not that expensive. Minus 165.
Right.
I took them run line last night.
Again, or
I mean, I just bet Dodgers run line. I mean, I really would. I mean, I think it's Dodgers at home run line. Just, if you don't want to lay the juice, just bet Dodgers run line and just, commit to the bit though. Like if you're going to bet it, keep betting it. Like I bet it last night. I'll bet it today. Just keep on betting it.
Right.
Because it's just one of those,
Over to
Stone was okay his last outing. I don't know. It could be a 5-1, 5-2 type of game. Be a little wary 8.5.
Good number, but I'm leaning over.
Okay. Don't hate it. The Twins have lost 7 straight games. But they faced Patrick Corbin today. The Twins are laying 185.
Right.
They're minus 185 in this game, and they've lost 7 straight.
Right.
What do you do? What do you do in this one? Bet the streak or bet the price?
I mean, there's going to be people that take the dog just because you bet against a team that
lost 7
loses
straight.
this many games in a row.
Right.
I
don't mind it. I don't mind it.
You want to bet on Corbin today?
Team total Dodgers over. Don't hate it. And yes, Corbin hasn't been horrible last couple of starts. You're right. Patrick Corbin has not been Patrick Corbin day like it was a couple of years ago, where every time he pitched, you just bet over.
Good call, Jonathan C. I mean, at that price, it's
dog or nothing.
Washington or nothing.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
The A's have lost 8 straight.
Not allowed to wear the stuff. She's home.
Uh-oh.
I showed her all the stuff.
Uh-oh.
She's like, yeah, that's great. You can't wear it.
Uh-oh. You're banned?
And she told me you can't wear the stuff. She said, it's my fault. Big and sick Kylie said, I caused the A's to start losing, all this other stuff.
You're the call.
They're playing Colorado tonight. They're winning.
Right?
They're winning tonight. No?
I don't know.
I think they win. I like A's tonight.
I mean, I don't know. Lost 8 straight. I don't know.
Just determined what I'm going to wear tonight for the show.
Sports Grid?
Yeah.
A's?
A stuff.
You're going to test it?
I'm going to put it to the test.
All right.
And I can't wear the Celtics stuff because enough people have linked us together because of this show, which I'm fine with.
Right.
The Bostonian versus the book. But they say that I'm taking your side and that I'm kissing your ass and all these things when I wear the Celtics stuff. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
It has nothing to do with that. I like the Celtics.
So not Wetzel, just
ago.
me, even though you work with Wetzel 3 times a week, who is a Celtics guy. Not Wetzel, but with me. So it's kissing my ass, not Wetzel's ass?
People
How's
just
that work?
like to come at you, period. I don't know.
How's that
I don't
work?
know. I don't know.
Say, I was like, I don't know. How's it? I'll take responsibility for that, I guess, but it's not all on me.
E-A.
Yeah, agreed on that.
That's all.
Time for better to know.
Jump scare.
Jump scare.
You got me there.
You
got
me. You weren't ready for better to book it. I'm not laying any. It could be the rock, son. All right, Santana. I don't. Yes, you could say FEA in bonus time, Nikki. That's very true. We can't say it now, but we may not have much bonus time today. Pacers plus 2.5 games at plus 130. Better to book it.
Look at you. I think this is a bet. I think they win 2 games. Let's go. Let's go Pacers.
It's everything. It's an awesome way of doing the John Anik hedge. Don't need to bet on the Pacers to win the series, but it covers everything except 4-0-4-1 for Boston. Every other scenario, I cash this ticket.
Right.
So if Indiana wins, I cash. Boston wins in 6 or 7, I cash.
I didn't even look. What is the sweep price?
I think Boston in 6 is 4-1. So I'm guessing sweep is like 8-1, 9-1.
If you guys are looking,
I would say it's 8 or 9-1.
I'll find it right now quickly. I don't know.
I know 4-2 is 4-1 because I was looking at it last night.
NBA.
Because people are trying to tell me, just bet Boston 4-2 if you think Boston wins 4-2. I was like, yeah, but what if Indiana wins? Like, you can't say that. I'm like, I can. It's sports. Like, they could. I'm going to make a bet on it. I gotta cross off every scenario. And the only thing that burns me are Boston sweeping or Boston 4-1. And I don't think Boston wins in 4. 5, maybe.
Boston wins game 1, wins series on FanDuel right now is minus 380.
Okay. What's a sweep, though?
If you're holding that.
Plus 320. Thank you, John. Boston to sweep. Plus 320.
Okay.
Don't think it's going to happen. Don't think Boston sweeps. So, again, I'm going to ask this question every game at home for Boston. Team total Celtics, 59.5 is minus 104. Boston, in the last time they played at home against the Pacers on the 30th of January, scored 45 points in the second quarter against the Pacers. Like what is this number? Below 60 is an auto fire every game at home and the rest of the playoffs for the Boston Celtics. For me.
I agree. It's
auto fire. 2 player props. I've not done these in a while.
Oh, boy.
Get ready.
Goes.
Tyrese Halliburton under 3.5 made threes.
Wow, look at you.
At minus 111. Okay, so here's...
Now, for a fact, if I hear this on another show, I'll know they got it from here.
So here is...
Unless you got it from somewhere else.
Boston is right now at home, the 3rd best home defensive 3-point defensive team in the NBA. 34.2% made threes. Halliburton only played in 4 of the 5 games, but in 4 of the 4 games he played, he only cleared this number once. He shot 5 made threes once, and 1 and 2 made threes. I don't think Boston lets him shoot threes tonight. They wanted to pass the basketball.
Okay.
Under 3.5 made threes for Tyrese Halliburton. Better to book it.
I'm gonna say book this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna say book.
You're looking to hit more than 4 threes. It's a lot of threes.
It is a lot of threes. I think he's gonna take a lot of shots.
He might, but he also might pass the basketball a lot. If you go by what like last night with our guy,
right?
Halliburton to lead the series. Wetzel liked Halliburton to lead the series in assists, which I tend to agree with him.
Right.
this is what started the mind thought in my brain. Started to look at it. I was like, all right, so we like him passing the basketball a lot. What's his 3-point shot props?
Right.
It's not that expensive to go undermade 3.5 threes at -111. And the second prop, Obi Toppin has gone over this number all 5 times. I'm taking a shot here. You can lay over 7.5. At least last night you could. Over 7.5 was -125 or 8.5 plus 104. I'm going to go over 8.5 at plus 104. He scored 10 points or more in all 5 games against Boston.
I like this one. Bet this one.
He's going to come in.
Figure him to get a lot of minutes, no?
Probably. They need his length. Yep. Very possible. I could see it for sure.
I mean, and I don't think game script will have to dictate his minutes.
No.
You know, like it's not like, well, they're getting blown out, he won't play. It's a close game, he won't play. Right. Like he's going to play a consistent number of minutes.
Oh, look at that. The Juice over 8.5 points last 4 games. How many times did it hit? The Juice. How many times did that come in the last 4 games?
3 and 1. I think that's 3 and 1 minimum. Might be all 4.
It seems a little bit low. I mean, 7.5 at -125. You want to lay the Juice?
The numbers are all shaded down. They think this is going to be a somewhat a defensive game.
I don't understand.
I don't know how or why.
No, Nikki, Boston being off does not worry me for 6 games. No, I'm not. I actually think they come out faster because of it. So I actually think that they're going to come out. They have played the game 1 first halves in both series so far like they're world beaters. Like it's like a football team with a scripted play set. Like they look amazing in the first half, and then adjustments get made during the game and things slow down. But I mean, I just don't understand how people are saying this is going to be a low scoring game today. And again, I've been wrong before. Maybe this is a complete rock fight, but the Pacers need to go with tempo to win this game and win this series. They aren't going to play a half-court game against Boston and beat the Celtics in a half-court game. I just don't see it. And again, I've been wrong before, but I just look at this and go, you know what? Boston's going to shoot a lot of threes. I think they'll hit threes. Derek White could have a big game tonight. I like Derek White over his points, but I wanted to wait and see how I like Carlisle defensively. Let's see what the Pacers do against him. And then let's see what Jason Tatum does, because everybody likes Jason Tatum over 7.5 points in the first quarter. He's been absolute money in the first quarter, scoring points. You want a Celtics prop? That's been a big one. Jason Tatum over points in the first half. And then this is a wild game. Rangers, Phillies, run line, Philadelphia, plus 130. Rangers, Suarez. The team and him haven't lost a game yet. He has 1 no decision. He has 8 wins. He's 8-0 on the run line. The Rangers are the second worst team in all of baseball against the run line. Yet they've got John Gray in the mount. Run line, Phillies. Better to book it.
We haven't done it in a while. Should we do the B squared tonight?
Whoa, you like it a lot, huh?
Yeah, Ranger Suarez is, he's the Cy Young winner right now. If people were voting on what's happened so far, they're not, and there's still a lot of season left. But Ranger at home, yeah, we'll take plus 130 tonight, boys and girls, or girl, or whomever. But, yep.
I was stunned when I was looking at it. I was like, I just started pulling it up and like going through different plays last night. And I was like, wait a minute. He's winning games like 9-2, 10,
hitting
10-1. They are.
You know,
They're
him being the
a ton.
third starter, he's gotten a lot of, B squared play. We haven't done it in a long time. Let's do it. Let's put it to the test.
Rangers. Look, John Gray has won 4 or 5 starts, so it's not like John Gray has been a
this is no bargain. I mean, like you could play it on the money line and just be safe.
But I think the
one
Phillies
by 1 will hurt.
Well, the Rangers bullpen.
They can't hit right now.
Yeah, they can't hit and they can't score and they can't pitch in the bullpen either. The Rangers I think it was Zeno who asked that question last night to us on Sports Grid, but he's right. Like when's the last time we saw both teams from the World Series look this bad?
It's been a while.
I mean, both teams stink who played in the World Series last year. It's like, wow, it really is somewhat shocking. Guys, if you're with us live on Sport or watching it on Sports or listening on SiriusXM, thank you for being a part of this. We appreciate you guys being here. If you are live on X, Twitter, or on YouTube, please stick around. Do not move. You guys are getting favorite thing about today, and you guys are getting bonus time, which will start right now. So, yeah. Who's saying a game was in Texas? That game's in Philadelphia.
Games in Philly. Games in Philly.
Yeah, Nick, you can say fuck them all now. You can say now. We're off. You can say whatever you want now.
Oh, my.
Favorite thing about today is what?
So, if you've been paying attention throughout the show, I've been changing hats and got all the different
What is
hats
that hat,
going.
by the way? What is that?
So this
Time
is,
to be better?
This is Throw It Better.
Throw it better. Okay.
That's what it says. And this is from Josh. This is his bowling shop. Got me a hat
Oh.
to wear and gave it to me. Josh is a bowler. And like a lot of bowlers, they tell you, like, I'm okay. And I go, bullshit, Josh. He came to the show.
Yeah.
Him and his buddy Rob came to the show. Got a couple of Chicago hats, and they're going to be here on Friday. They're coming to bowl at the South Point. So Josh and Rob gave me this hat, asked if I could wear it. Custom hat, made it just for me. Really appreciate it because they made it in black and gold. They said, we know you're a Pittsburgh guy. So my favorite thing about today is still reminiscing and thinking about all the connections and people that came out to the Chicago show, but also looking forward to visits in Vegas. And gigantic bowling tournament is going to be, it starts this weekend.
Mute your phone.
Butch, I'm not answering the phone. I'm not answering the phone. I'm not answering the phone, Butch.
We're
Not now.
hearing the buzzing.
Yeah. Hang up. Not answering the phone. Anyhow, yeah, those guys are coming. Hopefully going to see them this weekend. Watch the bowling. I think I'm going to bring the kids because Kelsey's got, Kelsey's carrying about a 180 average now.
Wow.
Like Kelsey's not joking around. She's going to practice. She's going to doing some other things.
Softball practice or bowling practice?
No, she's been going to bowling to
Wow.
practice. And they had their last league night last week. But I just found out that they're going to start a new league this week, apparently a different night. So we'll be bowling all summer. Not me. I don't think I am. I don't think I was invited. But favorite thing about today, Josh, thank you for the hat. Rob has an unbelievable story similar to mine. He got a second chance at life through a bunch of different, God bless, is alive, car accident, different things. He's doing a lot better. He's coming out. The wives are coming out. And they asked me to ask you for a food recommendation that the women would like a steak house, but not over the top, like Dudes Steakhouse type thing.
On strip or off strip?
They are staying off strip down the south end of town.
Down
So,
the south
I
end
don't
of
know
town.
how-
Oh, yeah. Echo and Rig at Green Valley.
Oh, there's one there?
That's where I'd send them. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was one down there.
That's where I'd send them. If they're
okay,
down by
okay.
there, I'll send them to Echo and Rig on the second location of Echo and Rig, which is in the Green Valley Promenade, they call it, right? That where all the shops are.
Yeah.
So there, that's where I'd send them. Yeah.
I did not know there was one there. All right, I'll text them today.
Yeah.
He's
So that's
watching the
where-
show.
Echo and
There you
Rig's that's almost always my go-to whenever someone says, give me a steakhouse that's not crazy, that's not super expensive, that's really good, that's got a cool vibe. Echo and Rig either in Summerlin or Echo and Rig in Henderson, one of the two.
Okay.
Just tremendous places to go. So that's where that's right. My favorite thing about today is the final pickup, final time for fourth grade. I have to go get Madeline here after the show is over. My last trip, because she gets tomorrow is a half day. She's going home with a friend, so I don't have to go pick her up. Last time I have to go to school to pick up my daughter for 3 months.
That was
Because
part of the
school's over.
reason too. I wore the banana stuff today because summer vacation is bananas. It's the first day here. All
Friday,
three
because
kids
it's gonna be
home.
fun because Friday's a big test because I'm flying a red eye on Thursday night. So Friday I'll be in New Hampshire. So it'll be a good test for summer vacation. But Madeline goes to Boston, Mass New Hampshire, Massachusetts for a month coming up from basically June 13th to July 14th. She'll be out of the Vegas heat.
Oh, this is a solo mission Thursday night, the flight?
For me, solo. Yeah. For me, it's just me.
Gotcha.
So it's overnight, and then Friday do the show from New Hampshire. So it'll be fun to do the show. I think I'm doing it outside. I'm gonna try to do it on the back deck.
Is it covered?
No, but it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be like 75 and gorgeous.
What if it rains? You can't.
It's not gonna rain. It's not. If it does, I have my full setup. I have my light kit and everything else. So it's I'll have it all prepared. But I'll do it outside. We'll do it like when you've been on the road, and I'll do it on the road. And
yeah.
Amanda saw a deer today, so maybe there'll be a deer in the background. Who knows? We'll be up,
Is that unusual to see a deer?
First time she's ever seen a deer. She's seen bears and foxes, but never a deer. So
she's never seen a deer living where she lives.
No, but I was like, "You seen a bear?" She's like, "Yeah, I've seen a bear." I was like, "A bear in your backyard?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, interesting." It's New Hampshire.
This is the animal portion of the show.
I was like, I don't know.
That's great.
To where we are. So, so today, my favorite thing about today is the pickup line. It's Consig number 2 saw a dead deer and freaked out. Did that happen?
I believe it. I mean, Uncle Dan took care of them for a couple days while they were there. So yeah, like they don't see roadkill on the road here.
No.
Like
that's one of the more
jarring.
It's jarring, right? It's pretty jarring when you go to the East Coast and you see the amount of roadkill, especially in the South. When I was in the South, that's always like, wow, there's a lot of dead animals around.
All over the place.
Raccoons.
That little jaunt I did to North Carolina a couple months ago. I mean, I was going to start making a number. I was driving all over the state, and I was like, there is a lot of dead animals.
Yeah. Because the trucks
all over.
Trucks come in and blow them up and kill them and whatnot. So, so there you go on that. Back tomorrow for a Wednesday. Go subscribe. Normal time tomorrow. Yep. We're on normal time tomorrow because Madeline's getting picked up. So I don't have to be off early to pick her up from school. So we're all good. Normal time, same place, same time tomorrow for BVB on a Wednesday. Hope to see you all here for a Wednesday's BVB.